حسبنا الله نعم الوكيل نعم المولى ونعم النصير أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا ومولانا أبي القاسم محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين سيما بقية الله الأعظم روحي وأرواح العالمين له الفداء رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. There's a sentence we find in ziyarat and du'as that says Allahumma ij'al mahyaya mahya Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. Allah, make my life the life of Muhammad and his family. Meaning that when I live my life, make it such that it is the same life as theirs. My view of life, make it the same view that they had of life. When we look at the issue of life, it is one of those things that is so inherent to us and so relevant to us. Life itself. What is your view of life? What do you think of life? Not the specifics in particulars, but the overall general view. What is life to you? Do you have a definition for it? Do you have an idea about it? Because we're all living, then we should know about what life is and what it is in our life. What are we going through? What is your view of life? When you ask people life, you'll see that everyone starts to stop there and start thinking, because most of us have never thought about our own life. What is this life? When you asked a person like Prophet Nuh, who lived for 950 years, a millennium of life, and that would seem to you like a long life, you would think that, well, if anyone knows life, it has to be Prophet Nuh, because he lived a long time. So when they asked him, what is life to you? What is your view of life? This overall view that you lived so far. And he says that life was walking through a door. It went by so fast. What does that mean? What is the meaning of that? You see, a lot of us, because we don't know the meaning of life or what life is, we never learned how to live it. We never learned how to take advantage of it. So we need to see what life is. What is life, and how does Islam explain life? Because when it comes to life, everyone becomes a philosopher. Yes. Anytime you see people started thinking of life. Nuh lived for 950 years and he's saying that it was nothing. It was like passing through a door. And we tell Nuh that, listen, 1 year of pandemic and we have become philosophers and YouTubers. And we are just looking at this thing and how? What's going on? What are we not understanding about life? That to us, life is so long. Life is so treacherous. Life is so miserable. Why is it that people are just trying to get over life? Maybe we haven't understood it. So what I want to do in these 3 days, in a brief way, explain what is life. I'll get to that in a minute. But life is such an important issue for us. In Islam, you will see that without knowing what life is, Islam does not make sense, nor does it become practical. Tawheed, the knowledge of Tawheed, without knowing the knowledge of life is nonsensical. Nabuwat, without knowing the knowledge of life, doesn't make sense. It's not there. We wouldn't understand it. Where does Tawheed fit in our life? At first, we need to know what life is, to know where Tawheed fits into our life. Where does Islam fit into your life? At first, we need to know what life is. If you don't know what life is, you would never know if it fits in it, not fit, where does it fit, how do we use Tawheed, how do we use Nabuwat or Imamat or Qiyamat, all of these things. When we look at life, that's when we know life, then everything will start making sense to us. Haram and halal, what does it have to do with my life? Why is it there? For what reason is haram and halal there in my life? The Shariat is there in my life. Why? Why do I have to pray? Why do I have to fast? See, you will never understand this unless you understand what is life. And that's why when you look at it, we see that Imam Ali alayhi salatu wassalam, in the most comprehensive sermon that he has in Nahjul Balagha, which is the most beautiful compilation of Islamic teachings, that nowhere else in Nahjul Balagha that Imam Ali spoke in this way, a meaning that is for everyone. There are certain great sermons of Imam Ali. All the sermons are great, but they're meant for a specific group of people. For example, you say the khutbah of muttaqeen. It's for muttaqi people. You know, those who are not muttaqi, you know, you will see that they have a hard time with it. They don't know how that applies. Or, for example, the letter that he wrote to Malik Ashtar. This is so great that even in the United Nations they hang it as a piece of writing that transcends time, and principles that transcend time. But this is for leaders and governors. It's not meant for everyone. But there's one piece of writing that Imam Ali has that's meant for everyone. And it is the letter that he wrote to his children, explaining about Islam. So when Imam Ali says this, and for those who want to go and read it, it is letter number 31 in Nahjul Balagha. Letter number 31 in Nahjul Balagha, for those who want to read it. Go there and see this. Imam Ali goes on into the explanation of Islam. What is Deen? What is Islam? And when he goes into it, he doesn't speak about Tawheed. He doesn't speak about Allah. He doesn't speak about Nabuwat. He doesn't speak about Imamat or Qiyamat or prayer or fasting or any of these things. Before he even touches on anything else, the first thing Imam Ali says, in that whole writing, you see right at the beginning, first he explains what is life. What is life? First understand that. Otherwise you will never know what Allah and the role that Allah plays in your life. And that's why a lot of us, when we have faith in Allah, and we do have faith in Allah, but we don't know where He fits into our life. We don't know that. And Nabuwat, Rasulullah, where does He fit into our life? Where do Ahlul Baig fit into our life? And that's the reason the only relationship that we're able to take out with Ahlul Baig are saviors and those who do shifaat. So the deep trouble that we are in, they're there to take us out of it. That's all we know. That's the relationship that we have. Why? Because we don't know what life is. If we knew what life is, then we would know the comprehensive role that Ahlul Bayt play in our life. So life is important. What is life? Knowing what it is. And then everything else in Islam will make sense. So just the importance of life. Let's move forward. Send the salawats. My friends, life is happening. It's happening right now. There's movement, it's happening, you're in it. It's life. Now, if someone says, be patient, what does that mean? Be patient in life. Where does patience fall into my life? What does that mean? What is the relationship between patience and life? What is that? These are things we can only understand when you know what life is. Now, I'm not going to define life today. I'm not going to define life or to show you what is life. I'm just going to think, and you can follow along with me. If you agree, that's great. And if you don't agree, that's also great. It doesn't matter, right? Because I'm the one who's talking. When you look at life, what is this life that we have? I just want to say what it should be. If I want to define life, if there's a definition of life, what should that definition be like? I'm just going to say it, see if you agree or not. I'll just say it. I think that life should be defined in such a way that life should be attractive to us. Do you agree with that? That it should be attractive? Or is anyone who says that, no, it should be miserable, I'm not defining life. I'm just saying that the definition of life in reality should be such that it should be attractive for us, that we should get attracted to it. It should appeal to us. That, yeah, that's life, It should be that. Definition of life should be that. Number 2, life should be defined such that when we get it, when we experience it, then we should thank the one who gave this to us. We should do shukr to the one who gave it to us. A lot of times when you look at life and how people look at life, it's completely the opposite. They look at life as a terrible thing, it's a horrible thing, and we have to make it good. That's the way a lot of people, they look at life when you see this. You see that in parents. If you don't educate yourself, if you don't go to college, then you won't make anything out of your life. So in other words, there is that given that life is a horrible thing that was given to us, and we have to work hard to make it good now. Really? Life is that bad? Is that your opinion of life, that it's such a terrible thing that we have to do something to fix that? That what Allah gave to us is a horrible thing? That Allah, really, I don't know what to do. Should I thank you for this or what? That now I have to make this better. We haven't understood what life is. Otherwise, if we knew it, then we will be like, wow, Allah, you gave us such a great blessing. We gave us such a great blessing. A lot of people, for example, complain to Allah, Allah, why did you give me life? Why did you make me? Why did you make me alive? And they have this inside complaints to Allah. Because to them, life is a miserable thing, and Allah gave them life, and now we have to do all this work to make it better. Now trust me, really, would you ask this question if you are in Jannat? If you're in heaven with all the enjoyments and everything, would you ask this question, Allah, why did you make me? I have everything over here. You won't ask this question, right, in Jannat? So look, ask yourself, why are you asking it here? Aren't you asking this question because of the troubles that you're going through here? So it's not life that you have a complaint with. It's the troubles and the problems that you have in your life that you are upset about. Did you understand why these problems are there in your life? And you haven't understood that because you haven't understood what life is. If you understood what life is, then you'll be like, wow, I understand now what is happening. Why am I going through this problem in life? If you understand what life is, my friends, then every issue that you have in your life, every problem that you have in your life, you will understand that problem. And you will know exactly why you have cancer. You will know exactly why you fell sick, why you're poor, why your life and things that you do in your life are not working out. You will understand it if you know what life is. Without knowing what life is, you will not understand it. I'm giving an introduction to the topic today so that we can go in the next 2 days about explaining what life is. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. You know, you might hear from elders who think that they know about life, right? Because they think that just because they lived for 60, 70 years, now we have experience and we know about life. And you might heard from them that, listen, you know, take life seriously. It's not a game. Have you heard that before? From your elders? Take life seriously. It's not a game. Actually, no, it is a game. Life is a game? What are you talking about? All the elders are like, you know, what are you talking about? Life is not a game. It's serious. Take it seriously. Everyone has to, you know, take marching orders and that's it. Well, no. Life is a game. That's what Allah says. That's what Islam says. وَمَا هَذِهِ الْحَيَاةُ الدُّنْيَا إِلَّا لَهْوًا وَلَعِبٌ. The life of this world is nothing but a game. It's just a game. And it's actually a game. And inshallah we will see how it's a game. And why it's a game. We need to understand this also. I mean, why? What's happening here? Why is Allah looking at life like that when we have a completely different understanding of what life is? Serious people have a serious view of life, that you should be serious in life. And Allah is saying, no, take it easy, relax, it's just a game. I mean, that's what Allah says, that's what Quran says. So what is the sense of that? You see, this is where we need to understand what life is. When we understand what life is, then you will see how good this life really is. Then you start enjoying it. You fall in love with it. The reason we haven't fell in love with life is because we don't know what life is. People are looking for success in life. They're looking for success in life. You know, I want success in life. Not that they look at life that is successful. They're looking for success. We're not going after or understanding what life is. We're trying to find things in this life that help us think that we are successful. Who is a successful person? Someone who has accumulated money, or status, or name, or fame, and all these things. But what does fame have to do with life? What does money have to do with life? In other words, you haven't understood life, so you're making up things to make yourself feel good that you're successful. Because if you understood life, you won't need to run after things for success. That's it, my friends. This is how life works. Now, just to give you a simple idea of life, and you know this, right? That Allah teaches us, and Islam teaches us. Life is, my friends, one life that has a small break in between, a rest area, put it that way. You know, one part of it is what you are living right now. And another part of it that's coming to you, and something, and the rest area in between is called death. So you have a life here, and then you have death, and then you have a life after that. Now, it's very important that we understand this. I'm going to go through this more as to what it actually means so that we can really appreciate it. Now, a sneak peek at what's coming that I will give to you so that you know. My friends, the sneak peek is this. Life is 3D. It's three-dimensional. Life, the way Islam describes it, is three-dimensional. There is a length of life, there is a height of life, and there's a width of life. When we understand these three dimensions of life, then we will have a complete understanding of everything that falls into our life. Everything that falls into our life, whatever you're going through, even Islam, even namaz, even everything that you will learn, you will see that it is going to be learned when you know these three dimensions. Because these three dimensions make up the definition of life, what life is. And we want to go through the three dimensions of it. I don't know if you ever heard about the three dimensions of life, but that's what we are going to discuss. There are three dimensions of life. And once you know that, everything that you know about life is going to change. It's just going to completely change. Whatever you knew about life is going to be washed away. Because now you will have a more comprehensive and complete understanding of what life is. Yes, my friends, life is such. It has the three dimensions, and we'll go through the three dimensions. Not today. Tomorrow, inshallah, I will see if I can speak about the length of life, and then comes the height of life and the width of life, and hopefully we'll start to get those things done in the next 2 days, all right? And then to give you a complete understanding of what life is in brief, so that you can appreciate life. If a person gets to know life, then he will understand Imam Hussein better. He will understand, what does Imam Hussein have to do with life? Well, here's the thing. Imam Hussein respected life so much that he refused to humiliate life by living it under a zalim. See the respect that Imam Hussein had for life. Allah, this life that you gave me, I do not want to disrespect it by living under a zalim. This is how you view life. Because he knew what life is. How can I live under a zalim when Allah, you gave me this life? It can't be. It's like me disrespecting your blessing. I cannot do that. That is how a person would look at this. Send the salawats. You know what is the first gift that Allah gave to a mu'min? When you become a mu'min, what is the first gift Allah gave you? You know, a good death, right? No. Jannat. No. You can look at everything, but no. There's one thing that Allah gave you before everything else. The first gift He gives to a mu'min when you become a mu'min. Whenever you start believing in Ashhadu anna aliyan waliyullah, I believe that Ahlul Bayt are my wali. That's the first thing Allah gives you. He mentions that in the Quran. لَنُحْيِيَنَّهُمْ حَيَاةً طَيِّبًا. We give you a good life. The first gift you get from Allah is life. A good life. Before you get anything else, that's the first thing Allah gives you. Because without a life, then everything else will be useless. If you go to Jannat or anything like that, you won't know what to do with it. Life will give you meaning, everything meaning. And first He gives you a life that is good. Yes. And our view of life is important. What do you think of life? Because we don't understand what life is, our view is different than those people, the things that happened to them. You see, our view is different. Why is Nu saying that life is just walking through a door after 950 years? Why can't we have the same idea? Why is it that for us life is so long, I'm just trying to live by it? Oh, how long do those go on? I'm just trying to pass my days. Let me watch some more TV, or YouTube or whatever, play games. Why are you playing games? Because I have nothing else to do. That's why I'm doing this. It means that you haven't understood what life is. That's the reason that you need these things to fill up spaces in your life. Why are you doing? Because I don't know what life is. Otherwise, if you knew what life is, you won't have time to do any of these things. In fact, it will be a waste of time for you. You will look at it and, man, this is a waste of time. Because you know what life is. But because you don't know what life is, then you need something to pass by time. Watch a movie or games or sports or vacations or any of these things. Why are you doing that? Because I have loads of time and I need to occupy my time. Otherwise, if I don't occupy my time, what am I going to do? It's such a headache thinking, how am I going to live my days? Really? Like, for example, you're in jail and serving time. Because that's all you get in jail, time. And imagine every day going by, what are you doing there? It's every day. Why are we in that predicament? It's because we don't know what time or what life is. We don't have the view of life, the correct understanding of life. If we had the correct understanding of life, we can live for 1,000 years and say, man, that went by so fast. 1,000 years and say, man, that was nothing. Salman, he was asked about life. And, he lived a long life, over 200 years. Some say 250 years. Salman Farsi. So they asked him, what is life to you? He says, life to me? He says, life to me is like, La ubali kayfa asbahtu. I really don't care where I get up, where I go to sleep. Life is like that. It just went by. Finish. What? You live for 300 years, man. We can't even get through our young life, our youth age, without being burdened. What is it that you understood that I haven't understood? That's what we want to find out. What is it, Salman, that you understood? I could not understand what is going on with me. And that's the reason, because we don't have the right view of life, that everything in life also, our view is going to be corrupted. We won't see it straight. And that's what happens to many of us. We come to Majlis, we do all these things, but we really don't know how to make sense of it. Because we don't know what life is. And from there we can start doing other things that is going to begin to make sense to us. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. La ilaha illallah. Send one more salawat. We need to rectify our view of life. Life happens, troubles happen, problems happen, they're just a part of life. It's just a part of life. That's what it is. It's not something that is life. Something for us to understand. When we look at things, then we will understand that, wow, this is something special. This is something special. I don't want to give away too much today, but just that much. Once we change our view of life, then you will understand things differently. When we see Karbala, we see a tragedy. We see a tragedy because that's how we understood life. That's our concept. We see a tragedy, we see horrible things, we see awful things happening, and such is the case. But that's our view, how we view things. What is it that made Zainab say that what happened in Karbala was beautiful. وَمَا رَأَيْتُ إِلَّا جَمِيلًا. I did not see anything in Karbala except something that's like an art. Beautiful. Amazing. Zainab, what is it that you understand that we don't understand? What makes you see things differently than us? You see things completely different, and look at you. You have this idea that you're looking at Imam Hussein being killed and you're saying that was beautiful. You see Ali Akbar being killed, you say that was beautiful. And here we are, looking at this as something horrible that happened. There is a difference between us and Zainab. Zainab saw something that we couldn't see. Because we don't know what life is, when we see someone young dying, we're like, oh, he died too young. Really? He died too young? Then what? Nu died too old? What does that mean? Oh, he lived a full life. We have no idea what life is. That's why we make statements like these that don't make sense. I hear it all the time. Oh, he died very young. Nothing. What is it that when you see someone who died young, it's not a big deal? Why is it that Bibi Fatima only got 18 years to live in this life? Why did she get only 18 years? Did she not fulfill her life? Why is it that it was okay for her to die at 18? Why is it okay for Qasim to only get 13 years? Why is it okay for Ali Akbar to get 18 years? Why is it okay for Sakina to get only 4 years in this life? Because we don't understand what life is, we think this is unfair. We don't know what life is, and that's why we are unable to judge correctly. Sakina died at the age of 4 years. Right? Just 4 years old, and she died. But that was beautiful. Zainab is saying that was beautiful. How come? Because she understood what life is. We didn't. And we want to understand so that we can view things the way Bibi Zainab did. That's how we want to view things, my friends. And that's what we want from this. La ilaha illallah. That's it. Bibi Sakina became a symbol for Imam Hussein's movement after Imam Hussein. She became the symbol of the struggle. The difficulties that she went through. The problems that she went through. As a 4-year-old, she did not understand. It was hard for her to comprehend what's going on. Why are these things happening to us? Why is father not coming back? Why is Abbas not coming back? He promised he's going to come back, but he didn't come back. Why didn't he come back for? Really, Sakina was asking this. Whenever she was being slapped, she was asking Bibi Zainab, why is my uncle Abbas not coming? He promised he will be back here. La ilaha illallah. You see, she doesn't know what death is, that when you die you don't come back, because she's just 4 years old. Really, it's hard for her. What can I say? Let me just tell you the story of Sakina. It so happened that in this journey, the journey was hard for Sakina. In this journey, the person who was carrying the spear on which Imam Hussein's head was kept, The person who's carrying that spear, on which Imam Hussein's head was kept, he says this, that at one stop, I put the spear in the ground. That's what they used to do. They used to put the spear in the ground, the head would be on top of it. And he said, I thrust the spear into the ground, and at the middle of the night, I went to sleep. I went to sleep, and I was woken up by cries of a girl, a young girl. I woke up just to see what's going on from the little opening of my eyes, and I saw that this small girl was crawling on her knees and elbows, making her way to this head of her father. She was crawling there, crying and crawling, coming to the head of her father. And then as she came close to the head, she looked at her father and then started talking to his head. She started talking to his head. That, Father, Baba, what can I tell you? Since you have gone, you know these people, they came into our tents, they raided our tents, and they did a lot of bad things, Baba. They did a lot of bad things to us. They did a lot of bad things to us. Baba, you know, I'm your daughter. It's me. I'm your daughter. I know you don't recognize me because you never saw me like this. You would never let me wear clothes that are torn up or burned. You always gave me new clothes to wear, Baba. But now that you see me, I know you don't recognize me. But Baba, let me tell you, I also didn't recognize you. I couldn't recognize you. I thought I knew you, but when I came to your chest, and I tried to sleep on your chest, I saw that it doesn't feel the same way. Who did that to you? I could not fathom that. Really, isn't that the case? And she just went on. He said she goes on and says, Baba, you know, I learned something here. Everyone's hands are different, you know. I learned that. And you know what? Soldiers' hands are very hard, Baba. Soldiers' hands are very hard. When they hit me in the face, these hands are very hard, Baba. But I have been hit many times, Baba. I have been hit many times. But this Shimr, when he hits me, it's completely different, Baba. He hits me so hard, Baba. Baba, you know what? I was very eloquent. Your daughter was very eloquent, and I used to speak so well. Baba, what happened to me? I can't speak now. I'm stuttering and stammering. I don't know how to even complete a sentence anymore. What happened to me, Baba, that I can't talk to you the way I always talk to you? Who did this to me, Baba? Baba, you know, when they come to me, and they used to, those earrings that you gave me as a gift, and I used to love those earrings very much, Baba. I don't have them anymore. I don't have those earrings anymore, Baba. They took them away from me, and my ears are still bleeding. She called out and said, Baba, all I want to tell you is that my ears are hurting a lot. My ears are hurting so much, Baba. Baba, whenever I used to call my Ammu Abbas and my Uncle Abbas, when I used to call my Uncle Abbas, you know what happened? Every time I said, Aina Ammi al Abbas, where's my Uncle Abbas? Someone would slap me on the face and say, this is your Uncle Abbas. This is your Uncle Abbas. Can you believe that? Baba, what can I do with you, Baba? Baba, you know, I am lonely, Baba. I've been lonely without you. What can I say? I've been lonely without you. You know, every time I needed help and every time I felt afraid and I felt fear, you would embrace me, Baba. You would come close to me and you would embrace me. You would hold me. Baba, why aren't you coming to me? This person who was the spearman, he says that when she said that, the spear bent down in front of Sakina. The spear bent down in front of Sakina until it came close to Sakina. When it came close to Sakina, Sakina grabbed the head of Imam Hussein. She grabbed the head of Imam Hussein. And as soon as she did that, she said, Baba, all I want to say is I'm tired. I'm exhausted. Please take me away from here. Take me away from here. Ala la'natullahi ala qawm al-zalimeen. May Allah send lanat on those who do zulm on Ahl al-Bayt. سيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون. يا محمود بحق محمد، يا علا بحق علي، يا فاطر السماوات بحق فاطمة، يا محسن بحق حسن، يا قديم الأحسان بحق حسين. Oh Allah, give us the tawfiq to be on the right path. Give us the wisdom to understand your guidance. Hasten the reappearance of our Imam. Make us his helper when he comes. Wa akhiru da'wana anil hamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Please recite a Surah Fatiha for the Shuhada of Islam and the marhumin of this gathering. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. يا حسين حسين يا حسين يا حسين حسين
Ya Abbas, Ya Abbas, Ya Abbas, Ya Abbas. यसरब से सूए करबला एक कारवां रुखसत हुआ, सर पे अलम साया फिगन गाजी की आती है सदा, पहला सफर ज़ैनब का है सुनसान कर दो रास्ता, कारवा कारवा अब्बास मीरे कारवा 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 अब्बास मीरे कारवा। क्या शान है क्या दबदबा, क्या लोग है कुरान मा, सल्ले अला आयात का है काफिला, मश्को अलम इनका निशा, अब्बास मीरे कारवा 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 अब्बास मीरे कारवा। अल्लाह के प्यारे है ये, आले नबी सारे है ये, कुरान के पारे है ये, कौनैन के तारे है ये, ज़ेरे कदम है आसमां, अब्बास मीरे कारवा 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 अब्बास मीरे कारवा। कोई शबी है मुस्तफ़ा, कोई हसन का दिलरुबा है, कोई अक्से सैयदा शब्बीर का ये काफिला, तामे अलम जो है जवा, अब्बास मीरे कारवा कारवा कारवा, अब्बास मीरे कारवा। यसरब से ताबा करबला, हर दिन तवाफ़े काफिला, अब्बास करता ही रहा, पर्दे का जिम्मेदार था, युन मुतमइन थी बीबिया, अब्बास मीरे कारवा कारवा कारवा, अब्बास मीरे कारवा। या हुसैन या हुसैन, मोहम्मद सल्लल्लाहु। अस्सलामु अलैका या रसूल अल्लाह, अस्सलामु अलैका या अली अल मुर्तज़ा, अस्सलामु अलैका या फ़ातिमतुज़ ज़हरा, अस्सलामु अलैका या हसन मुज्तबा, अस्सलामु अलैका या अबा अब्दिल्लाह, व अलल अरवाहिल्लती हल्लत बिफ़िनाइका अलैका मिन्नी सलामुल्लाहि अब्दम मा बक़ीत व बक़ियल लैल वन नहार, वला जहलुल्लाहिल आखिरतल अहदी मिन्नी लिज़ियारतिकुम। अस्सलामु अलल हुसैन व अला अली इब्नुल हुसैन व अला औलादिल हुसैन व अला अस्हाबिल हुसैन, खुसूसन सय्यदी व मौलाई अबुल फ़ज़्ल अब्बास, अब्बास इब्न अमीर अल-मोमिनीन व क़ासिम इब्न अल-हसन व मुस्लिम इब्न अक़ील व हानी इब्न उर्वा व हबीब इब्न मज़ाहिर व हूर शहीद अर्रियाही। अस्सलामु अलैकुम व रहमतुल्लाहि व बरकातुहू। अस्सलामु अलैका या मौला व इब्न मौला, अस्सलामु अलैका या गरीब अल-गुरबा, अस्सलामु अलैका या शम्स अस-समूस, या नीसन नफूस, या अली इब्न मूसा रज़ा व रहमतुल्लाहि व बरकातुहू। अस्सलामु अलैका या मौलाना साहिबुल अस्र व ज़मान, अलमान अलमान अलमान। अस्सलामु अलैका या खलीफतुर रहमान, अस्सलामु अलैका या शरीकल कुरआन, अस्सलामु अलैका या इमामल इंस वल जान। अज्जलल्लाहु तआला फरजक व ज़हलल्लाहु तआला मखरजक वजअलना मिन आवानिक व अंसारिक व रहमतुल्लाहि व बरकातुहू। अल्लाहुम्मा सल्लि